Hey, you! I'm your nutrition coach. My name is Jackie Poole. Welcome to Happiness is a Healthier Habit. Let's get today's episode started. Hello. Welcome to this lovely Tuesday. This fall has been really nice already. I am doing this on the first day of October, and honestly, I've been enjoying the cooler mornings. Now, I don't enjoy the winter, but this fall is definitely starting to feel nice and cozy. We start taking out the sweaters in the morning, but still the heat is pretty scorching in the afternoon. When I went to pick up Julian the other day, it was hot. Hot. So it is kind of like that in between fall and summer right now, right? Fall in the mornings, still summer in the evenings. So it's hard to dress appropriately with this weather. And so I wanted to start with that because that is something that I enjoy in the mornings these days as I've started kind of doing my morning walks. And so it is nice to, bring a sweater and just really enjoy the sunrise with the time changing soon. And so we are diving into today's topic. I've realized that I talk a lot about food and nutrition and working out and stress. Something that I haven't touched on is giving you like kitchen tips and, some of the things that we do at our household to really help, whether it be cooking tips or just having meals ready. Like honestly, for us, breakfast has always been something that brings us together, that we're always able to do together, like Monday through Friday. I make breakfast for the boys. Lately, they've made their own breakfast, but somehow we still find a way to, meet each other in the kitchen while one's cooking and we're just joking and laughing. What are we doing today? And so that is something that I really enjoy and something that we as a family kind of keep together. And it may look different for you, right? It could be in the evenings, or lunch with your friends, whatever. But I think today I really wanted to focus on the kitchen, and it's really something that it could be maybe a stress on you. Sometimes you don't know what to cook, or the kids won't eat what you eat. And that's definitely a stressor. I know for me, like Adrian, he is just the pickiest. Like, as he's gotten older, his taste buds, don't get me wrong, he'll eat carrots, he'll eat maybe some green beans, he'll eat bell peppers, but it's just so hard for me to get him to eat like rice and just like really the basics. And so kind of coming up with ways, like if he eats 6 eggs in the morning by himself. So if that is what he's going to eat, I tell him that's what you can make yourself. If you don't like what I'm making, you can make yourself some eggs. And so that is where we are at the moment. And so that's been so interesting because I want him to try. And sometimes that's kind of hard to find, things for him to eat. But the other two, it's easier for them to eat something. So I wanted to come up with some kitchen and cooking tips for you. I wanted to make it easy, practical, tips that can really help you create healthier meals without feeling like you're on a diet, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, you're on a diet, or, oh, she has her salad. And honestly, salads are great, and sometimes they're so nourishing. They have all of these ingredients. But if you're eating a salad to lose weight, then maybe we need to switch up your, foods that we're using. So let's start with tip number 1 is keep your kitchen stocked with basics. So that can look very different for a lot of people. For me, I know my fridge and my pantry are definitely going to be full with staples, like for me to make better choices. So personally, I know I've said this before, I really try to avoid doing like buying chips or things like that because it's easier for me to get up and like eat those. Like it's easier for me to snack those. So I avoid having those types of things in my pantry. I think the most that I would do it are like rice cakes or maybe some pretzels. I'll do crackers here and there if I'm doing like a, chicken salad or something like that. But I tried really to avoid that and really focus on staples, right? So what does that mean? It means I always have spinach, or I've been alternating spinach and arugula for my breakfasts in the morning. I make sure I always have frozen vegetables. I make sure there's always carrots. The boys are always okay with snacking with carrots. I make sure we have oatmeal. I make sure I have either cashews or almonds. I always also make sure that I have some type of oil to cook with, whether it be olive oil or avocado oil. If I run out of like the baking grease that I usually use to cook with in the mornings with the eggs. So those are some of the staples that I make sure I have in my mornings or in my kitchen for whatever I need, right? So those are pretty much basics. I always also make sure I have eggs, right? So we always have eggs. We never run out of eggs because that's something that we always have. And so it's my go-to for my breakfast. So they're quick to make and I can just throw together rice with eggs in the morning, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It doesn't matter. So for me, having like all of those things really help me. Oh, I forgot to mention like also blueberries, bananas. Those blueberries, if you keep them in a mason jar container, or raspberries in mason jar container, make sure they're super dry, but if you keep them there, they will last longer in your fridge and they won't go bad as quickly. But blueberries, if you get a good batch, like they will last you like a whole week. So I always make sure I have those because the boys love the raspberries, they love blueberries, and it's really easy to add on through your breakfast. So I also have those pretty much every time we go grocery shopping. Those are in my cart. Okay, tip number 2 is, you want to prep ahead. Keep it simple. You do not have to spend hours on Sunday doing meal prep, but what you can do is focus on maybe prepping 2 or 3 things that will make it easier for you, like chopping vegetables, grilling some chicken, cooking rice. That has been such a staple for me. I buy the kettlebell bone broth. I forget the name of the company, but I get it at HEB. They have like a turmeric, they have like a chili flavor. Honestly, it's pretty good. I get either chicken broth or bone broth. It's high on protein, and that has been a staple, actually, going back to tip number 1, to make rice. I always have rice because I can literally have rice and eggs any time of the day, and that is such a to go to. So like you can have rice with beef, rice with shrimp, rice with fish, rice with chicken. Literally goes with anything. So I always batch a big thing of rice, and just having those things already pre-cooked, pre-batched, those are items that you can just throw on a meal or make it up real quick. You can change it up. You can have beans, you can have lentils, you can have spinach, and whatever you want. If you want to make a burrito one day, if you just want to have a bowl one day, if you want to, prep your pico de gallo, like having those items like ready to go can really help you mix and match different types of meals in minutes. So you don't necessarily have to prep like all your meals. This is what I'm eating this day or that day. You already have that, right? If you're somebody that's tracking your protein and really wants to dive into that, or you're in that season, then be it. Like, go for it. I will always encourage that, right? Especially if you're trying to lean out, if you're trying to get stronger, or you're in a bulking season, whatever it may be. You want to make sure you are either prepping your meals or batching them in a way where you can easily mix and match during the week. Tip number 3 would be make hydration easy. Again, sometimes it's not what we eat, but we really forget to drink. Like, keep a pitcher of cold water in your fridge with lemon or, cucumber, berries. That's always fun to have during the summer. I always have my jug. I pre-fill it first thing in the morning, so it's already there for me to just grab and go to the gym. So what I've been doing this week actually, and it's been super helpful, and I definitely feel the difference, is I've been trying to just chug my water, my 40 ounces at the gym. Like, I need to finish my 40 ounces before I get home. And I usually kind of chug that in the sauna as I'm sweating and feeling thirsty. And so I already knock out like 40 ounces before 6 a.m. So that has been a goal of mine. And so I make it really simple for me to get to that goal. And, having that water with lemon or prepping it with those cucumbers or berries makes water fun, right? It makes it more enjoyable as opposed to trying to reach for sugary drinks or something like that. Now, I would say if you're working out, if you're somebody that gets sweaty, if you're somebody that has a hard time with water, I definitely would make sure to add electrolytes into your water, because they will help you, especially if we're eating a whole foods diet. We're not getting enough salt in our diet if we are eating a whole foods diet. So you want to make sure you have enough sodium, potassium, magnesium. So that's why I love the wellness peptides, the electrolytes. Those are great combination with the fit peptides. They keep me hydrated. They are clean. So my favorite fruit is grapefruit, and so they have a grapefruit electrolyte flavor, but they also have a tropical flavor, which is pretty good. And actually, talking about Adrian being so picky, like that is the only electrolyte that he will do. I've tried doing the Element, and he just does not like the flavor. I tried all the packets. He does not like the flavor. And so we've definitely switched over to make electrolytes, and the tropical, especially for his soccer games, they are sweating. He is running like 90 minutes out in the sun. He's not being subbed these days. So for him, he sweats so much by just sitting outside. He needs to have those electrolytes. So these are definitely doable things and tips that you can do to stay hydrated. And so that is tip number 3, which is make sure you're making hydration easy for yourself. All right, so tip number 4 would be involve your family, right? Getting your kids to be involved in the kitchen. You're more likely to eat healthier meals, assign simple tasks. So last year, when we were living in Kyle, I would make breakfast for them. And now that I'm here, Adrian's can make his own breakfast. I'm teaching Nico how to make his own eggs. So everybody's kind of making their own breakfast in the morning, and everybody just comes and sit down when we're done, and everybody's just eating. And how many eggs are you? And what do you want today? Can I have some of this? Like, we have conversations. How did we sleep? What are our plans today? So whenever we're doing that, like, it makes it easier for them to be like, yeah, I'll take the carrots, or yeah, I'll have some more meat, or oh, mom, look, this is how much protein I'm having. Like, the kids know a little bit of those terms. I try not to push too much of it because I don't want to be like super hyper aware of that. But I always be like, make sure you are satisfied, not full, or make sure we're eating our meat or our eggs first, right? So that also kind of brings that attention to them and like why. And it honestly makes kitchen and cooking so much easier when they are helping out, because the whole thing as a mom is not just me trying to figure out everything and just not me trying to serve everybody, right? Everybody go get the plates, go get the forks, everybody line up, get your things. Like, it just makes it so much easier. And it is enjoyable when they are all in the kitchen and we're all just trying to do things, and they learn too. That is another thing, right? They learn to fend for themselves. If I'm not there, I trust that they can make themselves something in the kitchen, whether it's putting something in the microwave, not putting something metal, or them using the stove. And, we have gas, so there's actual fire, and teaching them like, hey, this is too high. This is how you turn it on. Like so many things, right? So it lets them be little adults in that moment, and it also allows them to see what you're doing and the work that it takes to do it, and they might be more invested in trying the foods. And granted, talking about Adrian being so picky, like sometimes it might take a little longer. And girl, if that is your child, like I am with you, because it's definitely been a frustrating journey, because it's literally everything. There's always just one thing, like even at restaurants. So I know it's not just my food. Like he can like a burger in one place and not at another one. And so now I'm just rambling on and complaining about him. But no, really, like he helps a lot. And so he's been somebody that I've really brung into the kitchen. And so now I'm bringing the other ones in. And so it makes my load definitely less. So that is tip number 4, right? Involving the family just makes things so much easier. All right, so let's kind of review real quick. Our tip number 1 was to keep your kitchen stocked with basics. You want to make sure you prep ahead and keep it super simple. You want to make sure you're staying hydrated. You want to make sure you involve your kiddos, the family, so the load is not all on you. Tip number 5 would be cook once, eat twice. Always think about leftovers. I am somebody that if you are batching, if you are cooking, like if you are roasting vegetables or making soup, like double those recipes, right? Like all of those things to make it easier for yourself. That way you can have lunch or dinner ready for you the day without thinking like, oh, what am I going to eat? What does that do? It saves you time. It saves you money. It makes eating healthier, more sustainable. It really causes less stress. Like that is my thing. Like, what am I going to eat today? Like, what am I going to eat tomorrow? Like, not a lot of people give it that thought, but as somebody that always thinks like, okay, I need to have this ready because I don't want to think about food. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to think about what I'm eating the rest of the week. What am I going to have for lunch? Like, that stresses me out. I don't know about y'all, but it stresses me out. And so like, at least I know like, oh, I have like already things packed. I don't have to worry about it. I'll just make something real quick. That is kind of like the center of my thinking when I do, all of these other tips. Number 6 would be upgrade, don't overhaul. You don't have to throw out everything and start fresh. Sometimes, the pantry, or you already have some of the, quote unquote bad foods. Like there's no need to throw anything away. Sometimes the best approach is just upgrading one item at a time, right? So going back to some basics and, me talking about nutrition, maybe if you're used to buying white bread, you want to swap to whole grain bread, right? I personally don't do pasta that often, but if you do like to switch from pasta to chickpea or, others, I've learned that I'm not a big fan of like chickpea pasta or things like that. I've tried it. The boys don't like it. I don't like it. So I just stick to regular pasta, right? But I try to minimize it and make sure to add more like spinach or vegetables or things like that, whatever I can when I do make the pasta. Something that I do enjoy doing that I thought I would never say is I let the boys buy 1 box of cereal a month. The box that I've been buying is the Raisin brand, and it literally has like 4 ingredients, and that is the only one that I will do. And that is something that I said for years. I've been saying that I don't buy cereal. I don't want to get cereal, but the kids are kids, and sometimes we do go through the aisle and it makes them happy and they enjoy that one. And that's literally the only one I will buy. And it just makes it fun sometimes when we're in a hurry. So again, you want to just make quick swaps. If you want to do overnight oats. Small changes really add up over time. So, all of these things, sometimes it takes time, right? So you want to make sure you take it day by day, weekend by weekend. Something that I do, it's just ask the boys, like, hey, what do we want to eat? What is something that we're thinking about this week? And they tell me, we want tostadas, we want soup, we want, burgers or hot dogs, whatever it is. We just try to prep for that. And so we stock our kitchen for that for the next 2 weeks. So it's not overwhelming to, go and making just random things as well. So you want to be prepared and not overwhelmed with everything that you might have to do. So at the end of the day, that is definitely a motto of mine. Goal is not to be perfect, always room to grow. A healthier family, a healthier kitchen is not about restricting, right? It's really about, and it's taking me a long time to really feel this, because sometimes I can be strict for myself. Like, no, we're not having this. No. And sometimes it's okay to enjoy, a little bit of pretzels or a little bit of goldfish. Like, it's not something that we do all the time. And so it's about creating an environment where the good choices are easier to make, right? It's simple to make those decisions and you feel good about making those decisions. So always remember, right? Happier you is a healthier you, and a healthier you is a healthier family too. So really, that is the, cherry on top of today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. And if today's tips gave you some inspirations to maybe do a clean out or try new recipes or, try some new activities with your kids, I would love for you to share this episode with a friend and, who could use some of the kitchen motivation as well. So talk to you next time. Bye.